Welcome to St. Augustine this evening, and as you can see, my co-host Davey is here. And Davey needed help today, so we brought two people that are fully capable of helping Davey as our guest today. Good. I felt bad for you. That movie review has stuck with you for way too long from last month.
Life is Beautiful. What a great movie. I have never met a single person. Yes, now I can say that I have.
Yes.
I've met someone that did not like the movie Life is Beautiful.
I didn't. He should have left with his family when he had the chance.
My goodness, you guys.
Should have been responsible.
Prayers up for Mike Davis.
And by the way, how is our new movie review coming? Are you watching?
Barbara Jean. I'm trying here. Okay, I did. I got through like the first 20 minutes. I had to take a break.
So back in the 80s, when you watched a movie in the first 20 minutes, that was just the credits.
I know.
You didn't even get to the part where they're talking yet, Davey.
I'll get there. The buttons look really big on the ship. I was like, oh, Jesus. Where are we going here with this? Okay.
Why did the buttons on the ship bother you?
Aesthetically, it just didn't look pleasing for me.
You thought that the military should have smaller, cuter buttons.
Right, like ready to go. Here we go. And it was a very obstreperous moments there. Yeah, I don't know.
I, on the other hand, love the buttons, and I thought they were perfectly sized and in the exact right place.
Right, so you can see them. Perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
And you know, they were all fake because they didn't want the Russians to know where the real buttons were. That's how they did that stuff back then, Davey.
Everything a conspiracy. Never easy with
Hang in there with me. All right, let's make some money before we introduce our amazing guests and sponsors. All right, Salomon Services, they are an amazing place to get in shape. They've got a brand new facility with indoor and outdoor turf areas. All of their coaches are certified through the National Strength and Conditioning Association. And this summer, there's a few weeks left if you're trying to get your youths in shape for sports. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, they have middle school from 4 to 5 p.m., high school students from 5 to 6 p.m., and college students from 8 to 9 p.m. So if you want to get them in shape for sports, this is the time to do it. There's still a chance. And if you are still trying to live up to your New Year's Eve resolution of being in better shape, you got 5 months. You can do this. You can do this. I have faith in you. It's either Salomon Services or you got to go to a spin class with Dave.
That's all you need, I'm saying. Put your faith over fear.
One of those two.
Salomon Services sounds like a luxurious moment, everybody. I think, you might need to go. Hey, I'm going to talk about South State Bank. The team at South State Bank is a group of bankers you can count on. Their approach to building long-term relationships with their customers is the best in the business. If you're looking for a banking relationship you can depend on, check out South State Bank. They've got 3 convenient locations for you in St. Augustine at State Road 312, State Road 16, and the beach. You can go to their website, southstatebank.com. They're a member FDIC. And opening their doors in 2008, the Brightway Insurance. Boy, we talked about hurricane importance on insurance. Right now, it is the hot topic.
Yep.
They proudly stood by their customers through all the hurricanes, major floods, hail, and fires. These events of the agency have become a much-needed insurance resource in times of trouble and hardship. They have honesty and integrity are the pillars of their core values. We love them. They have prided themselves on being the insurance experts while developing strategies that help their clients meet their insurance needs. Check them out, the Brightway Insurance, the KC Agency.
All right, and Solar Stick, they were established in 2006. They're a local portable power company, proudly committed to American manufacturing, constant innovation, and creating jobs right here in St. Augustine, Florida. Solar Stick's focus on providing solutions for self-sufficiency helps users all over the world complete missions and save lives. Solar Stick, changing lives, saving lives, and reviving American manufacturing right here in the nation's oldest city. Phenomenal sponsors. We love them. They've been with us since the very, very beginning. And today, it's not in the Jackie Hurd calendar. She has nothing, but it's Danger Troy Blevins Day.
It is Danger Troy Blevins Day. If those that know Troy, just make sure we,
keep him out of any place that's serving tequila today because it's National Tequila Day.
Not good. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
It's itchy.
Do you know what Sunday was?
The Lord's Day, of course.
Well, it is the Lord's Day. Great answer. Great answer. Sunday was National Ice Cream Day.
Oh, yeah. Did you partake in a cone?
I did. I might have had a little bit of ice cream on Sunday. The thing that was really interesting is, ironically, that's the day that Joe Biden decided not to run for president anymore. The irony of that is not lost on ice cream eaters everywhere.
Ice cream or not.
It's
My
just
question
not.
is what flavor of ice cream does Mr. Davis partake in? What is your favorite?
Chocolate chip.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
What do you think Pete's favorite flavor is?
Probably bubble gum.
No, vanilla. I gave him crap about that the other day. I was like, really? Of all the
Vanilla
choices,
is an amazing
he
flavor.
loves it.
It's an amazing flavor.
It's pure. It's classic. It's that's
especially
Pete.
with sprinkles.
Absolutely. Hey, sprinkles.
Especially with sprinkles. Then it's even better.
Yes.
All right, we have amazing guests with us today.
Yes, sir.
We really, really do. And I am looking forward to, because we've had Teresa here before, and we have Ned, a guest, with Teresa, which I'm assuming Ned is doing something really important with you. So welcome back to the show.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me.
And Ned, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
If Davey becomes too much, let me know.
Of course. Well,
yes.
retired Army Colonel over here. This is major.
Are you sitting up straighter?
I'm on my best behavior, right?
And you actually like wore a collared shirt today. You shaved. You did the whole. You combed your hair.
Correct. My prime day fine.
Was your dad in the Marine Corps?
No, he was in the Army.
He was in the Army.
Yes,
okay. All right.
Well,
yeah.
So good. Yes. Well, guys, welcome to the studio. So excited to talk about Big Brothers, Big Sisters of St. Johns County. Yep. Teresa, tell us a little bit about the organization.
So a lot of people have heard about Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and so we are an affiliate of Big Brothers, Big Sisters of America. We've been in St. Johns County since 1982, and then Big Brothers, Big Sisters went under Epic umbrella, umbrella of Epic, in 1994, and it's been fabulous because, especially if times has been changing, a lot of times are the families that we work with, there's issues, and instead of just making a referral, hey, call this counselor, or, go to this parenting class, we say, hey, let's walk down the sidewalk.
Cool.
Because we're all part of Epic. So the most amazing thing about Big Brothers, Big Sisters is the relationships that are made with our big brothers and big sisters and their littles.
That mentorship program, right?
It's a mentorship program. It's 1-to-1, and we have community-based, which is where the big brother or big sister and the little brother and little sister go out and about and do things that they are interested in. And then we have site-based, which is where the big, as we like to call them, goes to the child's school or their after-school site and sees them on site. So that is just during the school year, whereas community-based is year-round. And I am thrilled that Ned is with us, because Ned is one of our treasured big brothers. He was actually our big brother of the year a few years ago.
Really?
Yep.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Mike.
That is awesome.
And he has been a big brother since 2019.
Wow.
So what made you become a big brother?
Well, it was, I'm a golfer, and it happened to be playing with Epic's director, a former director, Jamie Walu. And I was saying, hey, I don't want to be a serial failure in retirement, okay? So I'd done 31 years in the military and another 9 in the state, and I didn't want to go back to work, so I had to stay busy. So I said, he heard me talk about this, and he said, why don't you try Big Brothers and Big Sisters? And it seemed like a great fit for me because, in the military, we do a lot of leader development, and we work with, and I was in charge of captain education at some point, and that was one of the most rewarding jobs I had, is working with these young men. So I figured, why not try it? And we went through the selection process, and I was Rylan Ray was picked as my little, and it's worked out pretty well.
There's something about when the light turns on, right? When you're a mentor, you're a big, and you're dealing with this young human, and all of a sudden you make that connection. Do you remember that first connection?
Well, I think it's like that first meeting. It's like, you want to go get some ice cream, and we started just talking that way. It wasn't ice cream month at the time, but we did it anyway. And anyway, just getting out there with him and find out what his interests were, and found out he was really thinking about the Navy at the time. I had to dissuade him from that message.
Oh, thank God you were his big brother.
So anyway, I made the arrangements with some friends to go out, and the Sullivans, the destroyer right here in Mayport, it was in dock, and they were on vacation, and so they arranged a tour. And I said, now look at this. Look at the living quarters over here for the Navy.
Right?
18 people, one commode, one shower.
Seriously.
Seriously. in the Army, we're out there with all the stars.
See how beautiful.
You didn't mention the foxholes to him.
Didn't mention the rainy days or how cold it can get, but that was the selling point for me. So we go back and forth about the Navy, and I think that's sort of what our connection is: the military background and also football. He's playing football, and he had never played football before.
So will you move him from football to golf like you did from the Navy?
Well, we're doing that simultaneously.
Okay.
So I have so few skills.
Yeah.
And so that's something I could share with him is golf.
That's awesome.
I love football, and so I go to all his games and practices and things like that.
Awesome.
And I've watched him develop over time. He's become a pretty good player. So.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I think what Big Brothers and Big Sisters does is one of the things that we've lost, right, as we've kind of lost that nuclear family, is those connections to elders, right, that were there to kind of guide you. And people move all over the country, and sometimes grandparents and aunts and uncles aren't around. And I feel like we've lost that. And Big Brothers and Big Sisters replaces that, and it comes alongside these kids with people that have knowledge and they have the ability to go, hey, you might not want to try to do it that way. You might want to do it this way, but also just taking an interest, because so many kids just want somebody to take time and spend time with them. And it's not all about the devices and those things. It's about really sitting and talking to somebody. And I mean, we all do, but I think for kids, it's so critical at that developmental age.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get asked about the site-based program because the bigs go out there for about an hour a week, and sometimes it's a little bit less, depends on the school schedule. What can an hour a week do for somebody? A lot. When you are that child and they don't have to share you, and you're paying attention and your focus is on them, that is an amazing gift. And I'm lucky to work for Big Brothers Big Sisters and see some of the stories that we see of how the kids just change, just become more confident and do better in school. And I mean, just so many wonderful things happen. And then that ripples out, that ripples out to family members and friends. And it's an honor to watch the program and the kids. And sometimes people are like, well, I can't be a role model. Like, can you show up? Can you be on time? And can you listen? Well, yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. Exactly. That's it.
You're out.
Show up.
You're out. You're out. You're out. You're completely out. There's no way you're making this cut.
Get it right.
You're not making the cut, Davey.
Oh, please. Teresa, let's talk about the vetting process. How hard is it to become a big?
Well, and Ned can speak to this as well. I've heard volunteers say that they felt like they got turned inside out, during the enrollment process. But child safety is number one. We have to make sure that the person who wants to volunteer is doing it for the right reasons. Mm-hmm. So we actually have an interview that is from Big Brothers Big Sisters of America, from all their research. They've been around 120 years, so they know what they're doing, right? Oh. So our interview is very, very thorough. We do level 2 background screens. There's several other screenings that we do. We do reference checks. Mm-hmm. We know this person. Yeah. And so if we have any concern that this might not be the right time or the right reason, we won't take them in because we're not putting any child safety at risk.
And I think that's so important. Right? So I started coaching years and years ago in Little League and youth basketball and all that. It was around the time that they were doing the training for the coaches and you had to do all the safety videos and stuff. And so much of that, you're like, I would never have thought of that. I wouldn't have thought of that. I wouldn't have thought. It was so good that they were taking time to do training, because before you just walked in and said, well, I want to be a coach. I want to be around these kids. And nobody looked at them like, okay, great. We check a box. We got a coach.
Right. Yeah.
And maybe it's not the right person. Right. And if you did sports growing up, we all had at least one coach that you're like, they never should have let that person coach.
One. But honestly, Teresa, I mean, the fear of rejection is out there too. Yeah. With some people that are listening to this. So let's just say that someone doesn't make the cut. Are there other things that you could direct them in, even under the umbrella of EPIC behavioral healthcare? Is there other things that maybe volunteers could resource out? Like, I'm just worried that people would have the fear of, I might not get accepted.
You're gonna make it. I was just kidding.
I'm nervous.
You're gonna make it.
So, yes, a lot, and it's not that. And I don't want people to think that the only reason why they wouldn't be accepted at that time is because we have concerns about their safety. It just might not be the right time.
Right.
Sometimes people, like, maybe they've gone through a big life change, like maybe a divorce or something like that. And sometimes they think, I'm going to go do this, but sometimes it's not the best time. They just need to let some time paddocks
a
and
commitment.
let things settle. It is
Yeah.
a commitment, and it needs to be a commitment, because the worst thing that we can do is match a big with a child, and then the big say, "Oh, this was not what I thought," and then it would have been better not to match that child at all. So, but because we do get to know that volunteer so well, and one of the things, and you kind of alluded to this, kind of that, your little had an interest in the military. I mean, we knew that, we knew going in, and a big part of what we do is really find out from the big, what are your interests? What are you comfortable with? If you're not comfortable with an athletic kid, please tell us, we don't care. Just tell us the right answer of what you're really comfortable with and who you're really comfortable with. And we're doing the same thing with the little. What do you like to do? I want to play basketball the whole time. Well, I'm a big sister, and if they matched me with someone who wanted to play basketball all the time, our match probably wouldn't have made it, because
You would have dunked on them, wouldn't you? Absolutely would have dunked on them.
You found me out. So we do, we find out a lot about the interest. And so if we feel like this is probably not the right time, we have that information, so we can help direct them to other resources in the community for sure.
But I think that's so important, because if you put a big with a kid and the big's not ready for the responsibility, it's much harder on the child than it is on the big. They move on, and there are people that, there's just certain times it's just not a good season for them to be involved in.
Right. Yeah.
So Ned, do you remember your process of going through everything? Like when you first started out? What was it like for you?
It was not near as hard as Teresa made it out, because I think they knew Rylan. They knew his father had been in the Navy, and they knew I was just barely out of the Army. So they saw us as having some joint interests there. Mm-hmm. And he said he was interested in sports, and I'm interested in all sports. So those are the only things I could provide. I mean,
that's awesome.
Those are my interests, and there's a lot to do in St. Johns County. I mean, we went to some jumbo shrimp games, and we went Top Golf, and there's a lot going on being close to Jacksonville that we were able to capitalize on.
That's awesome. That's good.
But I think some of that too, with being involved with the kids, and we talked to Teresa, is if you can't take care of yourself as a big, you can't take care of a kid yet, right? Yeah. And so making sure that you're there and you're able to. So is it harder to get into the Army, or was it harder to get into Big Brothers and Big Sisters?
That's a good question.
I'm not really sure. So when I have to think about when I came into the Army at 17, I can't even remember that far back.
Really?
But I just remember the drill sergeant saying, "Ned, go do that," or private, go do this, or trainee, go do this.
That's all they said to you?
That's all they said.
There was no colorful language with that?
There might have been. I won't use that here, though.
But question for you, though, on time management. I mean, obviously you're a military guy, and you're really obviously regimented with the schedule. How much time do you have to carve out a month or a week for something like this?
Usually 1 or 2 visits a month is what the guidelines they give us. And it seems to work for us. I mean, and some people it might need more and some less, but it works really well for us.
So they're not there like on a stopwatch, like, oh, that's an hour.
No, they're very forgiving when I have a busy month or I'm traveling or something.
Nice.
So it's but it's an incredibly rewarding program. He gives back a lot.
Mm-hmm. It's that consistency, and if Ned has to be gone, it's just letting his little know. I mean, that common courtesy, not just leaving them like, oh gosh, he didn't show up. I wonder what's going on. So a lot of the bigs tell us that they have as much fun, if not more, than the little, or that they get as much out of it as the little. And I'll tell you, when I go see my little sister, it's like the best part of my week, because we're having fun, we're hanging out. I'm not worried about work stuff. I'm, playing Uno or doing crafts, or the types of things that we're interested in. So
I love Uno. It is my game. I am amazing at Uno.
I have played with some 8-year-old card sharks. Let me tell you.
I'm ready.
We're gonna play in here. We're having an Uno game in here. We're gonna film this, Davey.
It would probably need to be like on a different platform or something. But yeah, because there's some smack talk that's gonna be. But that's great. I love that how like the whole connection and everything happens, and making sure. But we always talk about sustainability, and a lot of times when we talk to nonprofits, what happens when like the little grows up and moves on with life? Is there still a connection with the big? Like, what does that look like?
For so many, there is. And we hear really cool stories all the time about a little being a groomsman in a big's, wedding or vice versa. The little
Cool.
gets married and invites the big to come. And, I was just on a call with National today, and they were doing, they're doing a campaign with alumni matches. So matches that were together a long time ago, and now they're both, the little has grown up, but they have kept that connection, and they know each other's families, and they know anytime they need to reach out, either one can reach out to the other. So that does happen a lot as well.
That's awesome.
No, and I think because I've got mentors in my lifetime. I didn't have an official big brother, big sister program. You just ran into people. I was in touch with one last week that
Troy.
I hadn't seen in a while. No, people that I mentor is Troy. People that mentored me is not Troy. So no, but just being able to go back and kind of relive some of those really fun times together that we had. And I haven't seen him a lot because he had responsibilities with taking care of an older parent, right? And that needed full-time care. And so I hadn't seen him for like 2 years, but we're still very close to one another. And those relationships and those bonds that you form in those early years are just huge.
Yep.
They're just so important in kids' lives and in adults' lives.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Can a big ever take more than one little on, or is it just you always do one and
Yeah,
one?
we just do one. So
That's
you
nice.
can, you
It's
can
not
just focus
overwhelming.
on that child and give them that one-to-one attention, and
Is there
it
like
doesn't
a
feel
wait list
overwhelming.
for kids? Is there like a lot?
Right now, we have about 20 kids
Okay.
on our wait list. That number tends to grow when school starts because a lot of our referrals for the site-based, well, really for both, end up coming from the schools or the parents when the children are starting to have trouble at school.
Mm-hmm.
So that number will probably grow. And this is such a great time to sign up to be a volunteer because there's time to go through the process, the enrollment, and be ready. Towards the end of school starts, August 12th. So to be ready, like even at the end of August or beginning of September, so it's like the perfect time to sign up to be a big. And it is just a process, and we educate you along the way, and we provide training. The bigs are required to go through some training that comes from National, and we talk about child development and child safety, and how to. It can be awkward at the beginning. You're looking at this kid and they're looking at you and you're like, oh my
Right.
gosh,
How
what
do
do
you-
I say?
Exactly.
So that's why knowing about interest is super important because then you kind of have a starting point, right? To start having that conversation. And sometimes it takes a little while. Sometimes that kid maybe is hesitant because of not having any reason to trust adults because
Yeah.
of what's been going on. And so sometimes it can take a couple months before they really start opening up or laughing.
Yeah.
But we provide support. That's the difference with Big Brothers Big Sisters than other mentoring programs. Big Brothers Big Sisters is known for its professional match support or case management. So each match gets assigned a match support person from our agency, and we have a prescribed schedule of when we reach out to the little, when we reach out to the big, when we reach out to the parent. And so we're checking with all three of them, not at the same time, but at separate times, talking to them one-on-one. How are things going? Are there any issues? Is there anything you need help with? Is there any information? Oh, I'm feeling stuck on activities. Okay, let me help you with that. Or, and so there's always a support for that big. So they're never, if there are issues, they're not having to figure out what the heck to do with this by themselves. They just call their match support specialist and get that support or cheerleading. And we do activities for matches. Our holiday party is very famous among the matches because it's a lot of fun. And there's some other stuff that we do that are really great for matches to get together.
Ned, how do you communicate with kids? I mean, they use words like Riz. They use like no cap. Like, how do you deal with that? Are you like,
It's been a process
Okay,
because
good.
I have a 39 and a 36-year-old.
Okay.
So using words like the bomb.
Oh, yeah, right, exactly.
It doesn't go well with Ryland.
Army guys, when you say the bomb, are looking for cover.
Yeah.
They're looking for cover.
Not in the airport, yeah.
It's like everything's fire now.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Look at you.
Ryland's keeping me up to date.
That's
on
great.
stuff,
Everything is fire, yeah.
Yeah.
But even Pete Melfi
and just
uses
to
that
add
term.
a little bit to what Teresa said, you can also you have to have a good relationship with the family too. And Amanda Ray, his mom, has been awesome, and just communicating with her, I can find out all kinds of stuff about what's Ryland doing.
Yeah.
Girls behind the scenes, that kind of stuff.
He's been a bad boy or something. Yeah. Okay.
And
That's cool.
So anyway, and his grandparents are very active with it, and I get to meet them at the football games. So
that's exciting.
so it's like a family affair.
That's awesome.
After a while, and after 4 years, it is. We're real close.
And now you're seeing this incredible athlete right before your eyes. This is awesome.
Well, we're working on it.
Hey,
We're still
that's
working on
awesome. Hey, you're planting seeds. You're going to watch them grow. That's
yeah,
all
we were
right.
doing box jumps like 2 years ago.
Oh, the
Now
days of
don't
box
ask
jump.
me to do a box
Yeah,
jump
no,
now.
me either. I'm like, my knees. Give me some turmeric.
So how many big sisters do you have, big brothers you have right now that are helping? I mean, just roughly kind of
So right now we're right around, we have about 80 matches.
80. Okay.
But some of them are not active over the summer because the site-based matches don't do that. And so we're gearing up. Our fiscal year just started, so we're renewing matches. We're checking with littles, like what's going on, because we also, with Big Brothers Big Sisters, we do what's called a youth development outcome plan, and we work with each match and the family. Like, what would you like to work on? What's something that you feel like you would like to get better at? And then we share that with the big. So if it works out that they can help them with that, that's great. It's not a requirement, but it's something that we try to help with as an organization and help that child and that family, improve in some areas that maybe they feel like maybe a child has an anger problem or something like that. How can we help them with that? And one thing I wanted to mention too is we also do a very thorough interview with the child and the parent too, because they have to be doing it for the right reasons. I remember one time getting a call from a lady who wanted to have a big brother for her son because she couldn't get him to baseball practice.
Really?
Okay. That's not how it works.
Yeah,
that's not how it works.
Uber.
So, and sometimes a parent will call and they really want their child to have a big, and so we'll go interview. There's an interview for the child, and we'll go interview with the child, and it's really obvious the child is not interested.
Mm-hmm.
And if the child is not excited about it, it's not going to work.
Right.
Because they can sabotage it.
Mm-hmm.
And they probably wouldn't use that word. They just know,
they wouldn't
I'm going to be a grump when they're here or bad or whatever. So we do a thorough interview with them as well to make sure that everyone understands. And when I don't know if you remember this, but that very first meeting when let me back up. So when we think we have a good match, we actually called Ned first and said, we think we have a little brother for you. This is a little bit of information about him. Do we move forward? And he could tell us yes or no. But then we called the little and the parents and said, we think we have a big brother. This is a little bit about him. What do you think? And so everyone has to buy in before they even meet, just based on how we describe them and information about them. And so then when they have that very first meeting, we go over ground rules.
Mm-hmm.
The big is not paying for every single thing that y'all do. I mean, he might want to treat sometimes, but he doesn't have to. And so parent, you have to, if they make plans to do this, you have to be responsible for that. Or so, because sometimes people are like, I can't afford to be a big, like, well, yeah, you can't. It doesn't mean that it costs money.
Mm-hmm.
You're just doing different activities. And it's so cool, the things that bigs have done over the years. One of my favorite stories is one of our bigs would take his little, like, early on Saturday and go out before the trash came, and they'd find furniture that was thrown out on the curb, and they'd pick it up. And he had like a workshop, and he taught his little how to refinish furniture.
That's awesome.
And so stuff like that, and cooking, and there's just a lot of interest out there, and that you can share, with your little and kind of show them. And it's not like you have to forge their path for them, but you can show them that there's a lot of things out there that they might not have been aware of.
Inspire them. I mean, just a simple field trip. I mean, we've seen success stories with kids going to U of F, and they'll never see a university like that, but that just kind of turns that light on, like, this is where I could, grow into. And it's an amazing thing. We have a question from comments from Bobby. How long, what's the commitment like for a BBBS officially? Like, what do people have to look for in their lives?
So the official commitment is that we do ask for a year.
Okay.
That you commit to spending 12 months, or if you're in the school-based, a school year with the little. We're very lucky. I don't know the exact month total, but most of our matches go on for 2 or 3 years, but that's a joint decision between the little and the big. I mean, that's part of what we're doing now in our reassessments and signing people back up. Are you wanting to continue? Or you want the same big? Or you want to continue? You want the same little? But for the most part, starting off, we ask for a commitment of a year. And then we all talk about it and see how we're feeling about it.
Yeah, because I think some adults do better with kids and youths at different ages, right? You have some adults that are really good with little kids, and you have some when they start to get into middle school, they struggle, and you have other adults that might struggle with younger kids, but they get into middle school like, okay, I got this. This I'm good with. So I think that's a huge, not everybody can do every age.
Right.
Yeah.
And for children coming into our program, we enroll children ages 6 through 12. Now, if they're matched and they get older, their big can follow them as long as they are both in agreement. And we have had, like I said, several matches go all the way through to high school and beyond. But it's, those kids are great.
It's so rewarding. I love listening to the stories.
And it's all over the county. It's not just down in you're all over St. Johns County.
That's right.
So you have from a lot of different schools, not just a few schools right around the city.
The bulk of our schools are in St. Augustine, but we're looking to expand in other areas of the county, but our community-based is all over the county.
Yeah.
What about tangible resources? Like, I know school supply drives are coming up, right?
So like we're having a back-to-school event coming up in a couple of weeks. That's for our littles, and we've been hosting a back-to-school drive, and people have been so generous. So I think we're almost to what we had asked for. So we're having an event for littles where they're going to come. We're going to give them school supplies. They're going to get to eat. There's going to be games.
Do you need backpacks or anything?
No, we're actually good.
You're good.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, congratulations.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Good.
people have just been great. So
fill those backpacks up with love.
Yep,
Yeah.
we've got all kinds of supplies for them. So, but just kind of help get kids excited about school and do something fun for the whole family. And the bigs can come too, but this is open to the whole family. So we just have a fun event for them. And that's the kind of thing that we try to do throughout the year as activities, not just for the matches, but where the families can come too and, have a good time. I think that's why our holiday party is so famous. The families come and there's dancing and Santa. And last year Santa got on the floor and danced.
It's like a moment.
Yes.
Every year it's like something to look forward to. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, my little's a little bigger than most of the.
Right.
So he sort of got his own thing, his own game.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Game?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. He's got game. Yeah.
Game is good.
Now, what might happen sometimes, talking about the ages, this happened with me and a little sister I had. Like, I got matched with her right as she turned 6. And I was with her all through elementary school. And then middle school hit. And it wasn't me. She was like, I'm not sure if I need you. And that didn't hurt my...
It doesn't hurt your feelings?
No. What
Right
a
away.
great thing.
Mm-hmm.
What's your sign? Like, I'm a Scorpio, so
I'm
right
a
away,
Virgo.
right? What did you something a little bit? Come on.
I mean, I was going to miss her, but the way I looked at it was like, wow, she's
grown, yeah.
But she knows. She knows she can contact me. And I reach out to her every now and then, like,
That's
you ever been
cool.
doing
I'm
okay?
glad
She's
you
like,
do
yeah.
that.
But, that's okay, too, because it's kind of like, when we're parents, we prepare our children for independence, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when we're bigs, we want to help our littles feel comfortable in any situation. And I was thrilled that she felt comfortable handling middle school on her
My
own.
parents needed this program. Not me, but my parents.
Your parents needed the program? They both needed a
That would've been
big
great,
sister and a
yes.
big, would have helped you out a
Like
lot.
parent mentors, yeah.
Well, but it has to
Love
be
your mom.
about mentoring. And I coached a lot of kids. You mentor a lot of people that work. And the great thing is when they get it and they come back to you and they've had a problem and they've solved the problem. Now, they've solved it differently than you might have solved it, but they still did it and they got there the right way. And to me, that's like, okay, you recognize there's a problem. You didn't stop. You didn't come run to me, but you fixed it. And then you came and said, here was my solution. And that to me is one of the best feelings you can have is, okay,
Right.
they're going to be able to figure these things out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is, I've always said this about the U.S. military. I think we have one of the greatest militaries in the world, right?
Thank you very much.
The greatest.
Yeah.
One of the, thank you. But the reason we're the greatest military is, I think other militaries around the world, if you told them go charge that hill, and they realized a lot of them were going to die, they go, well, we'll get shot if we don't go charge the hill, so we're going. I've always said the U.S. military looked at it and said, well, we're not going to charge that hill. We're going to go to the other hill where no one's out. We're going to set up an artillery position, and then we're going to bomb the heck out of those other guys.
That's right.
And then we're all going to be okay. And I think that's the greatest thing about our great military.
You are
Navy.
great. You're very
They're
intelligent.
the greatest
Thank
ones
you.
ever.
Totally drove home that point there, sir.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what I used to teach in class.
Yeah.
Ausfrag Taktik.
Yes.
Okay.
Mission type orders.
I like it.
So,
Ned, what would you say to one person out there that may be on the fence, and what would you get them to on the side of being a great mentor for this program?
I just say you're going to end up loving this program, and you'll end up with a great relationship with your little, and you'll get back a lot from that. And I have fun like you have fun with your little sister.
Mm-hmm.
When you go out, we do so many different things. It's been a real pleasure working with Teresa, and it's been a great honor for me to be in this program. And I thank you guys who do so much for the nonprofits around here. So
Oh, we
thank you
love
for
it.
the invite.
Absolutely.
But we love how the thing that is awesome about St. Augustine and St. Johns County is there's so many nonprofits that operate and with really tight budgets, but manage to help an amazing number of people.
Absolutely.
And we are blessed to have the nonprofits that we have in St. Augustine and St. Johns County. I don't think people that aren't involved with the nonprofits realize just how fantastic they are.
They're all mosaics of our community. It's all a beautiful tapestry of what we can do together with resources. You know, we team up and we have these great conversations and we bring a light to so many people out there. And I appreciate you guys so much for showing up and showing out tonight and telling this great story.
Thank you. So if anybody wants to be a big,
how do they get in touch with you?
Or if someone's listening and they want to enroll their child, they can call us 904-829-9986. Or they can go to our website, which is bbbsstjohns.org. And there's information through there as well. And we're getting ready to be out and about. You know, we go out and outreach. And if anybody has a business that they might want Big Brothers Big Sisters to come in and talk to employees about an option. I know a lot of places have, you know, employee volunteer programs. We've worked with several companies in the past where employees were given time off to go volunteer. You know, we'd love to talk to you about that. There's just so many ways that we can work together, but it's one of the most fun ways that you can volunteer your time.
Absolutely.
Well, I think anytime you're making a difference in a child's life, that's a great use of your time.
Yes.
Right? It's absolutely phenomenal use.
The new kind of tagline for Big Brothers Big Sisters of America is it takes little to be big. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be complicated. It can be simple. And as a matter of fact, simple sometimes is the best because you're just, again, that one-on-one and focused on that child. It could be playing a game of cards. It could be going for a walk. It could be someone helping you mow your yard. I mean, there's just all kinds of things you can do that are meaningful because you're doing it together.
Yeah. Coloring books. I mean,
oh, yeah.
They're underrated.
Yes.
They are.
When did you finish your last coloring book? Yesterday or the day before?
At the doctor's office Highlights magazine, where they do the seek and find, you know? Oh, but the kid before me was a little bit of a scribbler, so I was a little bit...
It bothered you, didn't it?
It
did bother you just a bit, Davey.
Yes. Teresa, Ned, thank you guys so much for coming tonight. Thank you. This was awesome conversation.
Thank you for your service in the greatest army in the world.
First and foremost.
Did you do okay that time?
You did great.
Okay,
yeah.
all right. Just checking.
They roasted you in comments.
I'm sure they did. I am sure they did. They're also roasting you for sitting low in your low rank. They're like, you're not working with Pete and Troy. You can actually sit up in the chair if you want to. That I would not be intimidated by a tall person like they are.
That is funny. Yeah, I am. I have my afternoon and morning show chair here, so that's why I'm so
I always get in the chair that's the afternoon chair.
Yeah, it's
and
low.
I feel like I'm in a low rider. Yes. But Dad, thank you so much for all that you've done and for volunteering and good luck.
And thanks for the invite.
And appreciate it. And Teresa, it's good to see you again.
You too. Yeah, thanks.
It's awesome. And don't let Davey harass you so much next time. Make him be nice to you.
Never. Love Teresa. Amazing lady. Well, sir, here we are.
Yes.
The evening show.
Yeah, the evening show.
I'm sure you have shenanigans you'd like to get into.
I have all kinds of shenanigans, but mainly I want to ask Clay how detention day number 2 is going for him.
Why do we say he's in detention?
Well, you see, Clay has all these other jobs that he does. And so when he has to fill in for Amanda, it's almost like he has detention after school.
Oh, no.
So, Clay, I just want to make sure detention is going okay for you.
Yeah, it's great. I don't have anything going on this week, so.
Oh, good.
Sweet.
Well, now we'll have to fill that calendar up.
Yes, we can.
It is great to see Clay in studio, I will say.
Well, we had it was great having him in a couple weeks ago, and it's great having him in this week too. It's nice to have him back on the 904 now. We love Clay.
Love Clay, yeah.
And so that was really awesome. Clay, we do relationship advice a little bit on Tuesdays.
Yeah, we could use you to chime in here, bruh.
So we feel like that you would have a perspective that a lot of us wouldn't have as the cool kid in the room. Because I know I wasn't cool growing up. I'm pretty sure Davey wasn't either. I didn't say that loud, did I?
Just fall out of your mouth. I paid to be cool, okay? I paid to play.
Whatever I say, just do the opposite.
Yeah, right.
Oh, the Costanza. You're going to give us the Costanza advice. Have you tried Costanzing in a relationship? Like whatever you thought you did the opposite yet?
No, unfortunately.
All right, it's time.
Yeah,
it's time, Clay.
I'll try that next time.
Yeah, if you think I should like buy her flowers, don't. If you think I never should buy a flower, go buy flowers right away. You just said to the
Horrible.
opposite.
No. You got to go with your intuition. That's what got you to this point.
How
so
has
far.
intuition worked out for you so far, Clay?
Horribly.
Horribly. Okay. So if it's not good intuition, you got to use it as a guide to do the opposite, Davey.
Please don't be a mentor anytime soon. I can't
Do you know how
believe-
many guys I have helped with advice over the years?
I mean, the whole town with this relationship column, it just keeps going and going. You should see the submissions I get weekly with these Dear Mike columns.
The Dear Mike column.
So can we, real quick on
Yes.
politics side, because
100%.
I learned so much from the show, and thank you so much for having this freedom to be able to talk. But
Yeah.
how you feeling? This is interesting, huh?
I think this is it's a little crazy and a little interesting all the time. There's so many crazy stories out there. I did read one today that I thought was interesting where they don't think Joe will be president much longer. That Joe's going to resign and the Democratic
You mean 8
convention,
months from now? Nothing.
no, weeks from now, that the Democratic convention is going to be the coronation of Kamala becoming the president.
Yeah.
And then Trump has to run against her as a president, not just as a sitting vice president. That there are people that think that his physical and mental decline is so bad right now that he needs to exit not just the race, but everything.
Well, they're saying that Joe was such a stand-up guy for doing the debate with Trump because he was blocking and shielding the shrapnel bullets from Trump from Kamala. He took a bullet for her.
I
essentially,
hadn't
on that.
seen that one. I actually look at it as a much more Machiavellian move where people on the left that wanted Joe out arranged the debate. And then not only did they arrange the debate, but they made sure that there would be a split screen. Whoever organized the split screen was trying to get Joe out.
That would be Clay.
Because the split screen, you could see Joe's reaction to every comment that Trump made. And the more you watched him seem like he was lost during that debate, the worse he looked. And then when he spoke, you're like, oh my gosh. So to me, the whoever wrote in the contract it would be a split screen, that's the person that did Joe in. Because if you hadn't seen him for half the debate, he might have been able to fake it.
So do you think that there was some and now I'm new at all of this whole game, but do you think there were some deals made behind the scenes for Joe to be out? Do you think Hunter was part of that deal at all? Do you think any of that was going on? Is that conspiracy? I know.
They're politicians, David.
I know.
So the one thing you know about a politician is they're going to get something for doing something.
Right. I'm a salesman, so I get it.
If you're a good one and you've been around 50 years, or you've been around 20 or 30 years, or you've gotten to a certain point, you realize I got to get something, even if I'm not going to get what I want.
Yeah.
I got to get something else. So I don't think Joe.
It's a fine line. Look what happened to that dude in Jersey, right? With the gold bars and the Mercedes.
Gold bars are different than political favors.
But you're getting something.
If I resign, right, you got to pardon Hunter. Or I'm going to pardon Hunter on the way out the door, right? I'm going to pardon Hunter. I'm going to pardon my brother. I'm going to pardon everybody in the family. And I'm doing that on the way out the door. I think Joe does it to take the heat for it. And then it's not Kamala's heat, right? So if you can remember back, you two weren't born yet probably. But when Richard Nixon resigned, Gerald Ford pardoned him. It's a long time ago, baby. It was so long ago.
It's got to be the craziest political cycle we've seen in a while. I mean,
yes.
In the past week and a half since the Trump thing, or actually since the debate.
Yeah.
Well,
every single day has been I need to check the news and check what's going on because there's a news story every single day.
Well, you had the debate. You had a week and a half or 2 weeks of Joe looking bad and then Trump being smart enough not to say anything. And then you had the assassination attempt a week ago, right? And then you have the Republican convention, which uncharacteristically went really, really well for Republicans, and they were very unified, a lot of energy. And then you have Joe stepping down on Sunday. So after
he said every single day that he wasn't going to, and he was yelling that he was going to run.
He might still be saying that.
Well, the funny thing is we haven't seen him since this letter came out. We'll see him today at 8, apparently. He's making an address. So earlier Kamala did an address and they had him on speakerphone, which, with AI today, you can't
we fooled this one. Yeah, please.
And it was
Governor DeSantis, please call me back.
That was the best prank.
I got the clips right here.
Yeah.
That was the best prank ever. Oh my God.
But you can see, you can't trust that.
No, you can't. can pull the wool over Mike Davis's eyes.
It'll be good to see him in person today if it's actually him, and to see like, is this really happening? Like,
well, there's a lot of people that Gutfeld was on last night, and so the Democrats, he said, had painted themselves in a corner in the Oval Office, which is kind of interesting if you think about it. But if Joe is not mentally competent to run for president, then he's not mentally competent to be president, right? So you can't have it both ways in that. Or if he resigned,
he's never admitted that he's not mentally competent.
I get that, but why is he not running anymore?
That's his business.
And if he decides I'm not running anymore because I'm losing, then you're throwing away democracy. You're taking away the vote from every single Democrat that voted in the primary for you, Joe Biden, because the rest of the Democrats cleared the field for you. They made sure nobody else was in your way so you wouldn't have to campaign, which to me was the biggest mistake they made, because they should have had Joe out there. They should have had, and then all the ones that agreed to whatever the payoff was, you'll get this position later on, we'll give you this much money when you run for a future office. If Kamala wins, you've got this position in the administration. Believe me, there's no way that all those Democrats lined up behind her so quickly without being told this is what you get if you do it. There's no way. Yeah. Because the people that aren't getting things are the Matt Gaetz of the world, where they're just being a total fly in the ointment.
Enough with the face. Oh, okay, Facciabello, my God. Baby fish mouth is sweeping the nation.
I'm just saying they're getting something for being in line.
That's terrible.
They're getting something for being in line.
Too much Botox, babe. Like, he needs to fill that out.
The other stories I've read a few of, and I don't know that I truly believe them, is that the Democrats are throwing in the towel. They think Trump's going to win. If she loses and somebody else loses, let's just set this back up for 2026 and 2028, and let's get this behind us. I'm not sure that that's the plan. I've never seen Democrats give up that easily, so I just don't think they're going to give up that easily this time. I look at those stories and I'm like, that's just candy for Republicans to eat. You shouldn't eat that. Don't eat that. It's bad for you. It's full of sugar.
So she's leaning into pop culture, which is very interesting. I mean, anybody knows in marketing and PR that you're going to lean, towards where the energy is. And right now it's called Brat Summer. And you're going to see this pop up on some of your conservative news feeds. But Brat Summer essentially is started by Charlie XCX, who's this like pop phenomenon. And it's this whole like apathetic, like kind of rich girl, pop girl, like not a big care in the world and just kind of live freely. So anyway, long story short, she's doing this like collab with Charlie, and then, Kamala is a brat, essentially, is what's going on. And so that's like this whole like liberty, independence kind of thing that they're kind of leaning towards of this new energy that is immersed through Brat Summer. But interesting that they've done that. She's got a very smart marketing team, but will that carry weight? Is there going to be a debate? Do you think that that's going to happen?
I think she has to debate Trump. I think she has to debate Trump because she's behind. If you're behind, you always want to debate. And you hope that the person's in front makes a mistake. It's a way to make up ground. She's behind. In some polls I've seen, she's behind as much as 9 points.
Yeah.
I don't know. I see a lot of even Democrats not enthusiastic that she's going to be the front runner.
Well, I mean,
too.
Oh, did Obama ever really endorse her? I didn't see that.
He never endorsed her, which was telling.
Well, he said something that he's going to, that the leadership of the DNC will make a decision, and it's hosted in Chicago, which is where he's from.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of assume that he's going to have a big hand.
But he never left Washington, D.C. after his presidency. That's what Pete said.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he'll be there in Chicago this time.
Well, there's two stories out there. One is that she's going to be replaced. The other is she's going to be president. So I have no idea. I'm just kind of watching.
I'm like, golly.
Yeah. The stories are all over there. The other one, I will tell you, if she runs for president and she loses, the next day the stories will be that America is still a racist country because they didn't vote for her because she was an African-American woman. Those stories are already written.
Aren't you tired of that narrative, though?
I'm completely tired of that narrative.
I'm tired of that narrative. I don't think that that's the case at all. I don't know.
I think that we are one of the least racist countries in the entire world. There are countries that have all kinds of civil war and civil strife going on because people are of a different tribe, they're of a different ethnicity, they're of a different religion, all kinds of things that we're still fighting around the world. In the United States, we all live together in a country and we vote every 2 years, 4 years.
But that's what makes our country so great.
Yes, but we also should,
But are you guys protecting that as conservatives? Are you protecting us being different? Or are you putting us in a box? I really want to ask that esoteric question right now.
I think that generally the Republican view is that it doesn't matter what you are or who you are. We're not about labeling you and putting you into boxes so that you can have your protected rights, this and that. It doesn't matter how you identify, what color you are, or sex you want to, or you identify with. I don't think that matters. What matters is your personal individual liberties. And the thing about Democrats is they fight so that the people who are labeled this or that have their rights, but by doing so they create more of a division, in my opinion. So I guess the
man is a genius. He doesn't speak often, but when he does, he's a wise man.
Why? What were some of
those? Because everything he says is true. One group, the Democrats, is always trying to divide you into subgroups and then figure out what your grievance is against the other groups and telling you, we'll fix your grievance. Really? Everyone else is out to get you, and we're here to protect you. And if you're just afraid of everybody else, we can protect you.
Republicans say that some of those groups don't even exist.
Which group do we say does not exist?
Yeah, you have a point there, Davey, and I'll give you that. It's a lot of the weakness in the Republican Party is just that. I mean, I just don't want to say too much to like.
Well, I mean, it's just a conversation between friends. I think it's a lot of people are having these kind of conversations.
Yeah,
There's no right or wrong. Yeah,
with it goes down to the like how you identify and stuff, and a lot of Republicans, don't like that or this.
Won't recognize.
But
yeah,
I think a lot of that also is how they're portrayed. Because personally, I don't care what you identify as. What typically the majority of Republicans have an issue with is that it's pushed onto people, and stuff like letting kids transition and stuff is where we get hung up with it.
Yeah, Elon was vocal about that today, I believe.
Yeah, very vocal.
Yeah, he was
very. Look,
that's why he came out supporting Trump.
There's age appropriateness in a lot of this stuff. But I honestly, I want people to be who they want to be. I think if you're an individualist, that's it. My beef is that I want people to actually do meaningful work, right? I want you to do something
make a difference.
that makes a difference, and that you get up every day and you go to work. What you do with your life after that really is not for me to say, as long as you're not hurting anybody else, right? I may agree or disagree with some of your choices. I may go, I wouldn't make that choice. But for me, if we're working, we're going to have a better community. So when people sit back and bitch about stuff and don't want to work to make it better.
Right. That's where I have a problem too.
And the other problem I have right now is the level of hatred that I am seeing in social media from people who aren't happy with Republicans or with Trump, or if you support Trump, I hate you. My goodness. That's exactly what Russia wants you to think. That's exactly what China wants you to think. That's exactly what every one of our enemies does.
They're feeding
into that. I will agree with you with. I saw one this morning, and it was if you're a man and you're saying something about elected women and calling them names, your wife is watching. First of all, they'll never hear you, the elected person, which is true. But your wife, your daughters, and your nieces are watching you. And I thought, well, let's just reverse the gender for a second. If you're a woman saying something about an elected man, he's never going to hear you either. But your husband, your boys, and your nephews are listening. So maybe we ought to just be careful about what we say and how we say it, and say, well, I disagree with somebody's policy, but I don't hate the person.
Right. Yeah, that's important.
Right.
It gets emotional.
And there's too much hate on both sides right now for the people that are at the top. And then you breed this hatred, and then you have somebody that maybe has some emotional issues that's mentally unstable that says, well, for me to save democracy from an existential threat, anything I do is fine because it's an existential threat. And now you're breeding people that are going to do crazy things. In the sense that you're putting jet fuel on a spark and creating a flaming inferno of people that are mad. I am not a fan of Joe Biden's policies.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like Joe Biden. I wasn't a fan of Obama's policy, but I don't want anything bad to happen to him.
Mm-hmm.
That's, to me, is a complete difference when you look at people that hated W.
Yeah.
Hated him viscerally and then hated Trump. Because you ought to be able to disagree with somebody. Yeah. And not have, and I think, you and I and Clay fall into all these different buckets and categories of agreeing and disagreeing on things, right? Mm-hmm. But we have respect for one another. I mean, I've never been disrespectful to you, other than one or two jokes. But I've never been, I mean, it's kind of in the show and we're joking and those things. I have the utmost respect for you.
Absolutely.
And how hard you work, what you do, and for Clay as well. And to me, when we lose that as citizens of this country,
respect,
that respect, when it's gone, then it justifies doing bad things to the other side. And we see way too much of that from the extremes on the left and the right.
So when was in history like a major cultural divide? Was it like, okay, when segregation kind of was, exonerated,
Mm-hmm.
what was that like within the political parties? Was there like the conservative side, were they more cautious on that? Like, what do you have any insight on that?
Yeah, the conservatives voted for desegregation. It was Republicans that voted for desegregation.
Did they really?
It wasn't Democrats that voted for desegregation.
Wow.
That's one of the biggest lies.
Boy, they teach us things up north that are very different than down here. Yeah.
If you go look at the vote, it was Republicans that voted for desegregation. At the end of the Civil War, the Democratic Party came out of the Civil War, and the Democratic Party is the one that wrote all the laws, the Jim Crow laws, in the South, where they were. That was their base, and they wrote all these laws to hold African Americans down. But if you ask African Americans today, based on what they watch on the news, it's Republicans that have done all these evil things, and it was Democrats in the South that started the Ku Klux Klan. The Republicans didn't start the Ku Klux Klan, the Democrats did.
Wow.
The Democrats wrote all these laws because they took over these state legislatures in the South after the Civil War. The civil rights movement, right, was people saying this is wrong, and it was 100% wrong. 100% wrong. And it was Republicans that helped pass the Civil Rights Act.
Wow.
So look it up, and that's and it was Republicans who went to war with the South to free the slaves. Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. They went to war to free the slaves. The Republicans said, this is a big enough issue for me that people should be free and we should not have slavery anymore, that I'm willing to die for their freedom. But you're not taught that in school.
So different. It really, truly is a different narrative than what I was taught.
It is very different up north. I have family
100%
in Pennsylvania, and every time I go up there, we can't talk politics like with our family at all because it gets crazy. The demographic is so different up there with who is a Republican, who's a Democrat, than it is down here.
Yeah,
that it's just like bizarre because it's almost like they have the same point of view, but they're just the opposite.
Oh, I'm a social disdain in my circle of friends that for living in Northeast Florida. I don't care. I love it here. I learned so much.
But like,
do they ask you if you feel safe?
Oh, every single phone call, every single conversation. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine.
But when it comes down to it, like we all agree on the same things.
Yeah.
It's just like
compassion.
These big divisive issues that these parties have pit us against each other with.
And they haven't solved these divisive issues for my lifetime. So 58 years, some of these issues have been going on.
Working this whole time to create these issues.
Yes.
And create them as the hot topic. Oh, hey, we get all your votes or this demographic's votes if we align this way. And so that's why they split it up like that.
They're constantly trying to separate us rather than unite us. And they want to separate it because if we're mad about something, we'll tune into the crap that they're putting on the TVs and all the social media. And then you'll get fired up about it and you'll repost it and you'll fire somebody else up about it. And then you'll write them a check. And that's really what they want. Somewhere I'm channeling George Carlin. Somewhere I am. They want you to write the check. They don't want to ever give you a choice. Democrats, you didn't get a choice this year. You got Joe. You're not picking the next candidate. The elites are going to pick the next candidate. This is the thing that's crazy. This is how Bernie Sanders got shut out in 16. Had it been a straight up vote, it would have been a much closer primary. But you have this thing called superdelegates in the Democratic Party. You do not have them in the Republican Party.
See, this is where it gets all crazy.
And the superdelegates
I don't understand.
pick the person that they think is best to run for them.
Well, they're dopey.
For them.
Have their own island. They can stay over their super island.
Yes.
Oh, what a mess. And I don't know anything about Cammie. What's her name? Kamala?
Cammie.
And Cammie. I don't. I wish there was like a bullet point. I know that she was, the first woman prosecutor, and she went after a lot of, sex trafficking crimes.
She.
You know the laugh, though.
The laugh
You
is,
know the laugh.
And she is a very big repeater in the conversation. The conversation is a repeat. The repeat is the conversation. Like she's one of those.
I'm here
Yeah.
to run for president.
Here I am.
Because presidents are what we have in this United States.
And
the United States has a president, and I want to be the president of the United States. That's all you have to do. And I'm here
you have to end it with I am
as
here.
your presidential candidate.
And then
You can do any speech with Kamala in about 6 words.
you have to say-
Just mix them up.
And then the past unburdened by what is.
Yes. Yes.
I saw
yeah.
that like on loop from like 80 different speeches she had, and
Yeah.
it was the same line.
Well, I don't know if I can trust JD. He had a Diet Mountain Dew today. That's just nasty.
JD
Oh,
Vance?
who drinks Diet Mountain Dew? Get out of
I
here.
don't know about that guy. I haven't really looked into him a whole
Me
lot.
neither.
There's a
I
whole
don't know.
movie. We should watch the movie.
That we should.
We should watch the movie.
That would be better.
Glenn Close is in the movie.
Oh, I would watch
Glenn
it.
Close is in the I knew I had you at Glenn
love
Close.
Glenn. It's a Fatal Attraction. God, she was
I-
so good.
I knew I had
Iconic
you at
role.
Glenn
Yes.
Is that the next movie review?
We got to.
I think we're just going to pull it and make everyone watch it and just go, okay, it's an extra movie
You
we have
just
to
did
watch.
like a super PAC rule. Look at you. You just acted like
Okay,
a
super
Democrat.
It is my show, damn it. There's no pretense here. It's not the people's show, although we love having you here.
Super delegate.
Every once in a while, you got to be a benevolent dictator, Davey.
Yes, I guess so. Rule with an iron fist.
Listen, I learned that from Pete Melfi, and I am proud of it.
Many blessings. Shout out to Amanda.
Yes. Shout out to Amanda for being an amazing, for
She's doing
putting
much
up with
better,
me.
by
Yes.
the way, everybody. She's doing
Yes.
great. So prayers up. She's doing good.
Yes. Melissa, that is some very nice of you to say.
Oh,
so,
that is nice.
yes.
Sort of like a second place finish, Melissa. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Cinderfella of the network. here, yeah.
Melissa, I have a longtime friend who is on the left. She and I went to high school together. And years ago, she said, I hate arguing with you because I get halfway through the argument and I realize you have all these facts.
Yeah.
And then she said, it just bothers me. So, yes.
Yeah, I like having other opinions here.
Me too.
This is a very good viewer for bringing those points in.
Love talking like that.
I learn a lot from people I disagree with. It's more fun for me to have conversations with them than sometimes than it is for people that 100% agree with me because I already feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not going to sway me. And every once in a while, someone will bring up a fact, but I read so much during the day about what's going on in the world, which I'm so very, very happy that one day I won't have to do.
So apparently, BJ's put this in comments a couple times that Harris had to deal with the border.
Yeah, she was in charge of the border.
Yeah.
And she was supposed to fix the border.
She did. Concierge.
Yeah, apparently there's an app you can just sign
There
up
is an app. There is an app. It is, you can schedule your appointment to illegally enter the country.
See?
Beautiful.
It's nice. Keep it in an organized front. Then you do an audition, and they say yay or nay, and then
Meanwhile, the money that was spent on that app was not spent on helping veterans that need help.
So it should have been a great one.
No, listen, you have to stop people from coming into your country. You don't have a country if you don't have border. And if you went in the rest of the world and tried to cross somebody's border illegally, you're not going to like how you're treated.
True.
You are not going to like the punishments.
Right. Yeah.
And here we're like, oh no, give them a job, give them a cell phone, give them a hotel, give them a car, give them money, give them whatever you want to get. That's not how it works in the rest of the world. I want people to immigrate here legally, but not that way.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all immigrants, so.
I can't remember the number, but it was a very small number of federal agents that deported when Eisenhower was the president. X number of illegal immigrants into the country, and he did it in like 6 months. And it's like, oh my gosh, that must have, and no one complained back then, right? Today, I think if you had one plane load of people being sent back to a country illegally, you would have protests around cities.
Absolutely.
England deports all their illegal aliens to, I don't think it's Ghana, but there's a country in Africa.
Yeah, that they own.
Next to Uganda.
The royal family visits there like once a year for a fundraiser.
Yeah. So I didn't know that. I just watched this dude.
Hashtag not my royals.
So weird. That's such a weird setup there.
It's a weird setup. All right. I have got to go to.
Oh my goodness! Look at the time.
Viewing in person.
Yeah,
it is
I could keep
6:04.
going,
Yeah.
We have busted the clock.
So fun though. Thanks guys for that chat.
Awesome time. Clay, you got to come back next Tuesday and do relationship advice with us.
Yeah, man.
Oh, I missed
Oh, yes, you do. I enjoyed the political conversation, but I need some Clay relationship advice.
Yeah, we got to learn how it's done with Dr.
No,
Love.
no. You don't want to hear my advice. It's terrible.
Suddenly, Clay's like, that's not in my contract. See this fine print right here? I'm not.
Anybody need a sound guy next week?
Clay is available from 5 to 6 on Tuesday.
Yeah.
All right, Clay, thank you. Davey, thank you. Thank you to Ned and Teresa and Big Brothers and Big Sisters of St. Johns County and Epic, who runs all of that. Amazing group. Thank you to all of you who commented tonight. We love you guys. Appreciate you guys watching. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.
See ya.